Welcome to the first ever grappling review. I plan to make this a series where you guys can submit your jiu-jitsu and wrestling videos to this email address for a chance to appear in a future episode where I'll be breaking down your guys' matches, highlighting some of the things that I think you did really well, and commenting on some things that could use improvement. As a quick side note, I got this idea from Caden Henschel. He has a wrestling channel where he has a similar series, so yeah, go show his channel some love. And both the grapplers we're looking at today, Jack and Joe, are my former college rugby teammates. Jack also happens to be a former high school wrestler, and I actually played a role in him starting jiu-jitsu. For both Jack and Joe, this is their first tournament, so shout out you guys for letting me use this footage. And as you can tell, Jack is pretty comfortable on his feet. I've wrestled with him before. We used to wrestle to stay in shape for rugby. He's really good with like underhooks, overhooks, kind of like the weird funky stuff, like right there, that outside trip. So good. And then he uses a little hip switch there. That was so beautiful, Jack. I'm not going to give you any tips on your stand-up game. I know you got that covered. But right there, when you're in that wrestling headlock position, it's great for pinning and wrestling, right? But it's not the best control position in jiu-jitsu. I did this exact same thing in my first ever jiu-jitsu competition. And like you, I almost got my back taken. But if you find yourself with that head and arm wrestling headlock position, you need to go to the far side underhook to actually maintain control. And I'm sure Jack probably watched this back and thought the same exact thing. So this isn't just for you, Jack. For anyone out there who may find themselves in that position, you need that underhook. And this guy's now getting into single leg X. The first thing you need to do here is get your foot off their hip, but you've made such a good angle that you almost don't even need to address it right now. He finds himself right into mount. In all his matches, he has a few matches here today because he did pretty well in this tournament. He got into mount so many times. He was like bypassing having to pass the guard. And here he's looking for that arm triangle. I have also been trying to work on really dialing these in, so I'm not really one to comment too much on this, but yeah, just getting your hips down. You want to be low, but you want your weight into their neck still. You're doing really well keeping yourself head to head, and eventually you'll just mess around with it enough that the dude taps. That's his first match ever, and he got a submission, so that's pretty sweet. Congrats, Jack. And before we get into the rest of Jack's matches, we're going to check out Joe's one and only match, unfortunately. He actually ended up hurting his rib in this match, so he didn't compete throughout the rest of the day. Joe does not have wrestling experience, but he's a college rugby player. Dude's pretty tough. Here he's going to kind of reach for the legs. He's in a guillotine for a sec, but he just kind of runs through it. The key there was that, you need to get your hips underneath someone else's hips when you're going for most takedowns. He accomplished that, but he did it the hard way by pulling the guy's hips towards him, where he could just do like a knee slide and get his hips under his opponent's hips. Less work, same result. Get yourself under the hips, finish the takedown. But good job. That's still 2 points regardless. And now he's going to pull half guard. Just from watching this one match, I could tell that this is definitely a position that Joe likes. The underhook is there. Your left arm, there's a single leg there the whole time. If you just pop up to your right hip, yes. See, right there. Then he starts to do it. And as soon as he does, he gets the sweep. Yeah. I mean, great job. You did exactly what you needed to. There you kind of gave up bottom position. I don't know if the ref gave 2 points for the sweep, but if you care about, winning a match, then you should have maybe tried to stay on top there, but it doesn't matter. Pretty sure he's still got the lead here. He's going to pull half guard again. And I'm not sure what the score is at this point, but I know that this guy's losing. So he's going to frantically try to break that half guard. And here his opponent just squeezes his head. He's got nothing. Joe takes a W in his first ever match. It sucks that he hurt his rib, but you got the W. All right, now on to Jack's second match. This was a 16-man bracket, which is kind of wild. So this is now the round of 8. Jack again looking for a shot. And he rolls through. Jack, I know that you know this, but I'm going to say it anyways. When someone rolls you through on a double leg, if you just land in a bridge and then foot hook, you get the takedown, and you can do the same thing here. You kind of like let the momentum take you. I don't want it to seem like I'm preachy because Jack and I have a very similar level of wrestling, but that was one of the things that bothered me a little bit. I did make a short video about that exact thing actually, getting rolled through on a double leg, landing in a bridge, and then, using that to your advantage. If you want to get deeper into that, then check out that video. Again, Jack's so good with those over-unders. He goes for the outside trip. Doesn't work, so he just goes, okay, you want to give me 2 double unders? That's fine. I'll pick you up and put you down. Yeah, that was beautiful. Now he's isolating an arm again in mount. He's stiff arming you. Obviously there's an arm bar there, but those can be hard to get, especially when someone has their arm fully extended. Jack's in a good leg riding position here. Got both hooks in. He gets those points. He's nodding his head listening to his coach. Even though this is his first jiu-jitsu competition, just having experience competing can be so useful. You can tell throughout this whole tournament that Jack's ears were open. You can definitely see that wrestling experience. So Jack's gonna take the W in his second match, and now on to the semifinals, where he's got this whizzer. Guy has the body lock, but he just uses that to his advantage there. It's like a modified lat drop kinda. Now to break this guy's close guard, you're getting your knees in, which is good, and eventually he's gonna have to let this go. You do have to be careful, you know, going too much head down, butt up, but hey, it works. He just goes into his passing. But he's just chaining these moves together, you know, he's not giving this guy a second to breathe, which is really good. And then foolishly, this guy's like, yeah, let's wrestle some more. Gets knee picked immediately. One thing I will say though, in wrestling it's all about pressing the gas pedal the whole time. Whoever can go harder for longer will win. You know, you can win purely on grit and heart. That same kind of advantage that wrestlers have is what gets them into trouble in jiu-jitsu. Constantly pressuring forward. Again, Jack ends up in mount, gets a W, and now he's on to the finals. This guy's got him in single leg X. Like I was saying before, the first thing you have to do is adjust the foot that's on your hip. You also want to put your weight on your foot exactly like you're doing there. It's pretty obvious that this is Jack's best competitor yet today, but you know, Jack's still gonna put the heat on him. He almost gets past the guard there. This guy's good, inverts, and they just keep going. Jack goes to back step, and the dude gets the sweep. Jack needs points. He goes for the takedown. Oh, I wonder what the score is, because if there was 2 more seconds on the clock, that would have been a takedown. I mean, nonetheless, a 16-man bracket. Yeah, Jack goes like this. The score must have been close. If he'd gotten that takedown, that would have been pretty sweet, the buzzer. Again, if you want to appear in one of these future videos, then just email me your match to this email address. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.